Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel Knowledge with Nandini. I hope these videos increase your knowledge bank as I make them very painstakingly and with no monetary gain whatsoever. Also, I hope that you share, like and subscribe to them. Otherwise, I don't know whether to continue making or not. We saw in the previous video, which was on inspection of instruments before packing, that is video number 18. These all videos are going step by step as the procedure in the CSSD goes on. So, after decontamination, we all know the instruments are transferred to the assembly area in the CSSD. This is also called the preparation and packing area. Preparation consists of assembly and inspection of instruments. Since we have finished inspection, we will take up assembly of instruments today. The key principle to remember is that items should be assembled in a manner that will facilitate the sterilization process. That is, allow easy contact of the sterilant or sterilizing agent with the instrument. I told you earlier that the sterilizing agent is called the sterilant, just as a disinfecting agent is called disinfectant. Okay, so what are the sterilants in the CSSD? Obviously, they are steam, ethylene oxide and hydrogen peroxide vapor. So, when the items are assembled, they should allow the sterilant to contact the instrument as well as they should allow the easy removal of air. You all know that air is the enemy of steam and it has to be removed in order for steam to enter the set and contact all the instruments. Also, the items should be assembled in a manner that they allow the exit or removal of steam and water at the end of the cycle so that we get dry packs. You all know that wet packs are as good as unsterile packs. So place all the instruments in the tray in a manner which does not allow air to be entrapped inside or allow any water pooling or condensation during the sterilization process. The instrument should be put in a tray large enough to permit equal distribution of the weight and metal mass. That means the instrument should not be piled on top of one another or be in one place in the tray. This allows for the circulation of the sterilant all through the tray, thus sterilizing all the instruments. If the tray is very dense, that means too many instruments in one place, or if the weight is too much, then there won't be proper sterilization or proper drying. Therefore, methods of assembly, of instrument assembly, have to be carefully chosen. You all know that instruments are assembled in trays or sets. Trays are usually used in the OT, while other departments use smaller sets or kits for minor procedures, such as in ICU wards, cath lab and other departments. Now the instrument tray should look the very same each time the scrub technician or the OR nurse opens the tray, regardless of which CSSD technician has assembled it. If it is appropriately arranged, then it can save setup time before the surgery and stress in searching for the instruments during the surgery. The order of the instruments, how they have to be placed from left to right and top to bottom, can be determined by the CSSD manager with a representative from the OR, because remember, we are giving service to the OR. So we want it very, very simple for them to find the instruments. The surgical scrub team should have an idea of what to expect each time the tray is opened. However, there are some exceptions to the rule. The heavy items like retractors and mallets have to compulsorily be placed at the bottom of the tray, as they can damage more delicate instruments if placed on top of them. Ringed and hinged instruments. You know what are ring handles and hinges. So they are usually placed on a stringer and they are grouped together with similar instruments from small to large sizes. For example, smaller clamps such as mosquito forceps would be grouped together with the larger hemostats like Cryle and Kelly's forceps. Of course, it's obvious the curvature of the instruments in this case should be facing in the same direction. All ratcheted instruments should be slightly unlatched. Racks, pins, stringers or other designed devices can be used to hold the instruments in the unlatched position. Unlatching instruments allows the sterling to easily reach all surfaces. ST79 recommends not that the instruments be fully extended during sterilization, but just held in the unlatched position. Straight ratcheting forceps like Cockers, Alice, Babcocks and sponge holders can be grouped together, followed by needle holders and scissors, following the same principle from smaller to larger sizes. The knife handles, thumb forceps and suction tubes could be kept separately. The technicians should never attempt to assemble instrument trays by memory. The content of the tray could have changed since you last did this particular tray. Or you forgot an item. You could get distracted. So, please use a checklist in which all the instruments are listed down along with their description. This is also called a count sheet or recipe card in several parts of the world. You can use this on a tracking system, on a computer or on paper. Some hospitals have a picture of the tray taken. So as we said earlier, whichever technician prepares it, it looks identical. This tray, if it has all the names of the required instruments, their placement in the tray, their quantity, and also a photo. So it also serves as a guide to new technicians who get confused maybe while packing the trays. During assembly, the technician should identify each instrument, inspect it, and verify against the count sheet, and then place it in the proper location within the tray. When the instruments come from the decontamination area, they are clean and dry and usually kept in the washing area wire mesh baskets. These baskets should not be simply turned over onto the table or dropped or dumped on the assembly table, not even gently. A simple practice to avoid damaging instruments is to remove them one by one from the basket onto the table. When instruments are dumped from the basket to the assembly table, they can be damaged by impact with the table, which can cause scratches, nicks and bends. Sharp items such as skin hooks may entangle in the mesh and they may have bent tips. Delicate forceps also can become lodged in the mesh of the basket and go out of alignment. Damage to instrumentation can render the instrument unusable. Another point, instruments should be used only for their intended use, for what they are made, for what they are supposed to be used. Let us not talk about the operation theatre all the time. I have seen myself. In the CSSD itself, instruments are misused. We are the custodians of the instrument. We are supposed to take care of them. For example, Mayo scissors should not be used to cut peel pouches. Is this not a common practice? An absorbent linen towel should be used to line the bottom of the tray to absorb condensate. Non-woven disposable wrappers should not be used as a liner because they may be water repellent, and this may cause water to collect at the tray bottom. If an instrument has a concave surface like a basin or a bowl, it should be positioned on its side, slightly bended forward to allow the sterilant, that is steam, to contact the entire surface, and the bending forward allows the moisture that collects at the bottom to drain off. When basins are placed one inside another, it is called nesting. You must learn these terminologies. So the nested basins should differ in diameter by a minimum of 1 inch. An absorbent towel should be placed between two nested basins, an absorbent linen towel, to facilitate the sterilant contacting all surface areas, to aid in air removal and to absorb the condensate. I think we know this, that instruments should never be held together with rubber bands. Maybe they can during washing or counting, but not during sterilization. All rubber bands to be removed before the tray is packed. The rubber bands prevent the steam from contacting the surface of the instruments, as steam cannot pass through them. Microsurgical instruments should be placed separately in special trays designed for the sterilization of delicate instruments. We often use these days paper plastic pouches, and we use them to sterilize individual instruments. But we should not use them inside the trays to keep together instruments of one type like screws or anything, because if they are placed in the tray, the plastic portion will not allow steam to pass through it to reach the instruments which are below it, outside the pouch. So if there are multi-part instruments or sets like osteotome or lighter items which need to be separated, we can use linen. That is, small towels can be used to wrap them, or small pouches which you can get stitched by your tailor, or for lighter items you can use paper packets. Gauze and sponges should not be used inside the tray because they may be confused with the other gauze used in the surgical field and lead to errors in the surgical sponge count. Instrument technicians must be vigilant. Vigilant means very alert, to ensure that the instruments are assembled in a manner that protects them from potential damage. So we need to take care of the instruments. I said before, we are the custodians. So not only we have to give sterile material, we should see that the instruments are well taken care of. Delicate and sharp instruments during sterilization need to be protected with tip guards of foam, both of which are commercially available easily in India today, and steam can penetrate through these. Hence, they can be used to protect the tips. If latex or red rubber tubing, like old catheters or old suction tubes are used, which is a common practice, then care should be taken to see that both ends are open to allow steam to pass through and through. While you are configuring, that is designing your trays, you have to ensure that the weight of the whole tray, including the container and instruments, is not more than 25 pounds or 11 kilos. Since we did not have a scale wherever I worked, I used to go to the kitchen and weigh the tray whenever we made it for the first time. It is better to have it less than 10 kilos if possible. If you require more instruments, you can pack a separate pack for that. Everything doesn't have to be dumped in the same tray. Also, loaner instruments, especially orthopedic instruments, they come in large trays. These trays are very convenient for carrying them, but you cannot sterilize these trays because they may be too heavy. So at this point also you have to weigh the trays, divide into 2 of your own trays, pack it and then sterilize it. Anytime you modify a tray or add a lot of instruments, you have to reweigh the tray because it might have crossed the limit. Please don't forget, this is very, very important. On the other hand, the maximum recommended weight of wrapped basins is 3 kilos or 7 pounds as given in AMI standards. I hope you remember AAMI, Association for the Advancement of Medical Instrumentation, 2006. So because basins also should not be too many one inside the other. I highly recommend that since everything can't be included in this video, so you can go on the internet, put words like AMI or assembly of instruments, and you will learn a lot on your own about them. This video is to get you started and to tell you the highlights of assembly. So bye till the next video. Thank you for listening. Bye.